What on, guys, Commander here, and welcome to my first impressions and opinions review on the Geonosis update for Star Wars Battlefront 2. Now, as of recording this, the Battlefront 2 update for Geonosis, it came out yesterday, and I've been playing it quite a bit. Not as much as I did for General Grievous, but I've been playing it quite a lot. Now, I recorded this about 10 o'clock in the morning. Now, yesterday I had college, so I couldn't play as much as I wanted to, but I have been playing a lot of it. But I'm just going to go through what I liked and what could be improved. I'm not going to go over what I didn't like, because what could be improved sort of comes under the what I didn't like. But there's not a lot in this update that I didn't like. I actually like quite a lot of it, and nearly all of it. There's a few little things that aren't major game-breaking things. I'm not going to go over the little bugs and everything, but there's nothing game-breaking in there that I think needs to be improved, or anything like major that needs to be improved. It's just little things that I saw and I thought, that doesn't look right, and that doesn't like work right, if that makes sense. So under what could be improved, there's two things that just don't look right and don't work correctly, and there's two other things that... No, it's one thing that it really does irritate me about Battlefront 2, and there's another one which is not going to be changed, but it's just something added extra. So what we're going to do is we're going to go on to the things that I liked, first of all. And the first thing I'm going to go over is obviously the star of this update, or the half star of this update, is Geonosis. Now, Geonosis... it looks an absolutely beautiful map. I love it brilliantly. It's such a nice looking map. And why I like Geonosis is, aside from the fact that it's got new ways to play objectives, new vehicles, and it's another Phase 1 Clone Trooper map, and the fact that it looks absolutely brilliant, is that it's multi-level. And what I mean by that is, most maps that we've got right now, so let's say you go for Clone Wars, let's say. So, I think let's just go through the ones that we've got already. So what have we got? We've got Hoth, we've got Naboo, we've got Crate, we've got Starkiller Base, we've got Takodana, we've got... what else have we got? I can't think of what other maps that we've got. We've got another one that I'm trying to think of, but I can't remember for the life of me what it is. But if you think about all those maps are relatively, like, flat, if that makes sense. I know we've got hills, and we've got, like, Crate, we've got the underground segments, but as far as, like, levels are concerned, they're all very flat. Like, when we've got hills, like, they're not... like, you go up to the top of the hill, but you haven't necessarily got any specific, like, high ground as such to everybody else, because everybody else is on that, like, flatness. The only high ground, let's say, that you've got is when somebody's on top of the hill and you're walking up. What I like about Geonosis is that it's multi-leveled, so you could be down, so the clone troopers could be down by the ATTE trying to activate it in the first phase, and on your side you've got droids which are quite elevated on a ledge, and that makes it a lot more diverse in how, like, tactics works, because I've been there playing as both clones and droids, and I've been there and I've chucked a detonator down there and I've got about 3 kills because they're grouped, and I'm so high up on a ledge they can't actually shoot me properly. The only way they can get me is by chucking a grenade at me, and most of the time, because it's normally a blind grenade, they miss me. But because I peek over and chuck a grenade into their miss, I get a couple of kills on the enemy team. But that's what I like about Geonosis. It is a very different sort of map. And even when we get past the first phase, there's deep trenches, there's you can hide under the ATTEs and everything, and it's very much like a very different way to play a map. Something that I struggled with Geonosis was actually learning how to play the new map, because it was so different. The sandstorm makes life so much harder, but it's so much more fun, because you've got to immediately adjust your tactics of how you play to accommodate the sandstorm, because it's so destructive. And not destructive as in it will kill you, as in it's destructive that the enemy team both teams are just firing like blindly at each other. And if you get a kill, it's lucky, and if you don't, it's sort of expected that you don't. But because everybody's firing, you've got to be careful of the enemy team's blast as well, trying to kill everybody else at on the enemy team at the same time. And that adds a bit more like added caution to when you're playing. So you're trying to play the objective, but you're also got to be careful of the enemies, because you could just walking in front, and I've been walking just straight, and I've had somebody on the enemy team just come out of the sandstorm and just shoot me down with a vanguard, because it's like fog, which I think is really good, and I think they've designed Geonosis really, really well. I'm going to go on a couple things. One thing that I don't like about Geonosis later on, but for the most part, I actually really do like it. It's really, really cool. The next thing is Obi-Wan Kenobi, the second half of the star of this update. Obi-Wan Kenobi, or Obi-Wan Kenobi, however you want to say it. Now, Obi-Wan Kenobi, I think, is done really, really well. Now, when I started playing him, I uploaded a video yesterday, as of recording this video, of me playing him in arcade. Now, when I was playing him on arcade, that was the first time that was the second time I'd ever played with him at all in the game since the update came out. And something that I noticed immediately was that his stance was very much similar to that in the classic Battlefront 2, and the way that he looked was very much similar to that in the classic Battlefront 2, and that actually just brought a little bit like a nostalgia back, because it's nice to see that they're taking information back off of the old Battlefront and off of the old games. Apparently they data mined the stance for Anakin Skywalker, and apparently that's very close to the original Battlefront 2 as well, which I really hope is the case, because I think those stances worked really, really well. Now they could have added with Obi-Wan, just copied the entire animation set for Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I'm glad that they didn't, because that would have just made it too similar, and we need something fresh in this game and nothing copied, which I think, with what they did, that was really, really good. Now on to Obi-Wan Kenobi's force abilities. His force abilities are okay. Now, from what I can see, it is just basically like a recycled abilities with slight tweaks. We've got the all-out push, which is basically like Luke's force push mixed with Yoda's unleash ability. But the only problem I have with that is that it's very buggy, and it works, but even in arcade, I haven't tried it in multiplayer yet, but even in arcade, it's very hit and miss whether it works or not. You could fully charge up your force push, and you could push in front of it, you could release it in front of an enemy that's in the box, and it wouldn't work. Now, I've only seemed to notice that is the case when you allow it. So when you charge it up, you can't hold your force push in its max state and release it when you're ready. As soon as it gets to its max push, it'll let go automatically, just push automatically. Now, maybe that's when you do that, it bugs out and it doesn't actually do anything to the enemy team, because when I do like half full and then push, it works perfectly. But sometimes when I do it full max, then let go, it works. It does work, but that is very hit and miss whether it works or not. And it's not a major problem, but I can see it, like, I can see myself being in a gameplay of, let's say Naboo, where you're in a very closed quarter space in a corridor, and your only defense to push the enemy back is that all-out push, and if it doesn't work, you left yourself very vulnerable to attacks from the enemy team. Now, as far as the mind trick is concerned, I haven't actually been affected by the mind trick, so I don't actually know exactly what it does. From what I can gather, it's basically like Raised Mind Trick, except with Raised Mind Trick, you can still like strafe and use your abilities and whatnot, but with Obi-Wan's Mind Trick, you can't actually use your abilities. All you can do is just move left, right, backwards, forwards. You can't even strafe. Or in a clone's instance, roll. Or in a droid's instance, roll. but which I think is really good. I think it's a good change because the Mind Trick is definitely a very powerful ability. In a sense, especially for Rey, it's slightly overpowered because, especially when you're playing heroes versus villains, I've noticed this. You could be very nearly ready to kill, let's say, another hero, and then Rey will come up behind you and mind trick you, and you've basically lost that kill. And then Rey comes out, or another two heroes come out and just kill you instantly. That is sort of, I like the idea of it, but I've always seen it as a very OP ability. It doesn't last for too long. It lasts perfectly fine, but it's one of the more powerful abilities in the game, and especially playing Galactic Assault or Heroes versus Villains, it's one that is going to make Obi-Wan a very, very formidable opponent in the game. Now, as for his third ability, I think it's the Saber. I want to say Saber Rush, but it's not, because Saber Rush is Luke's one. But I'll put a bit of gameplay of it up now. Or you probably know what I mean. It's the one it's the one to the right to the left, where he's swinging his lightsaber, blocking enemies, and then running into them and killing them. From what I've seen of that, it's an okay ability. It's basically like General Grievous' Unrelenting Advance, but with a single lightsaber. That's the only thing. It hasn't been changed at all. That one is a completely recycled ability. It's basically exactly the same as General Grievous' Unrelenting Advance, but with one lightsaber and a different animation to accommodate the one lightsaber. Now, I don't really know what else to say about that, because Unrelenting Advance is a really good ability now that it's been updated. It's actually been fixed. But that is literally just a recycled ability and hasn't been changed at all. So there's not really a lot I can say about that, really. Now, something I'm just going to touch upon quickly is the skins. Now, we've added the 212th Legion skins, and blimey, they look really, really cool. I really do like them. I think the 212th and the 501st are going to be my top favourite skins, because one, they look absolutely brilliant in Phase 2. But one, aside from a few episodes in the Clone Wars, we never saw Phase 1, 501st, and 212th Troopers. And maybe, in all fairness, we didn't really see many skins on the Phase 1 troops anyway. Maybe that's the reason why I like Phase 1 troops, the skins for Phase 1 troops more, because it's more, diverse. Because it's new. We've never seen that before. So, yeah, I like the skins. I think they're really, really cool. I still really wish they would add armor to the officer, because I don't like the fact of something that really annoys me. Is especially let's say when you're playing a Battle of Geonosis, seeing an officer in cloth clothing running around. I'm sorry, that doesn't make any sense at all. You know, if it had, even if it was just the most thinnest based armor possible. Even if it was just recycled armor, that would just make me a little bit more satisfied, because it doesn't make sense having this massive battle and seeing just officers covered in just wearing cloth and just shiny black boots without a helmet on, even just running around the battlefield. You know, even let's say the Empire, let's say their officers, Battle of Hoth, a very deadly battle where all the troops have got armor on them. The difference with that is that they've actually got some form of body armor on them. They got a helmet, they got a chest piece on. It's not very thick, it's not very big, and it probably wouldn't even stop a blaster in real life. But they've got some form of armor on them. You know, so I really hope that in the future they add skins. They add armor for the officer, because then we could have full force, all 4 skins for all of the all trooper classes. And the last thing I want to talk about is the ATTE. Now, the ATTE looks absolutely insane. It moves perfectly fine. It shoots perfectly fine. I love the 3 different abilities. That one of the abilities for the ATTE is actually purpose-built for playing that objective of destroying the hard cell transports. I like how it moves exactly how it is, and how intimidating it looks, and how very cinematic it looks if you're a soldier or an infantry looking at it, it looks really like cinematic-y. It just looks really, really good. I'm really impressed with how they did the ATTE. And what I find really interesting is that how long has the update been out? What, a day or two as of recording this video? I've just gone on Nexus mods to look at some mods for Battlefront 2 that I could use in videos. They've already made a edited ATTE mod and a Obi-Wan and Mandalorian armor mod and improved CIS classes mod. You know, that actually, the fact that it's only been a day and they've already done that actually just amazes me immensely. You know, so maybe we can have a go at some of those mods in the future. We shall see. Now, what could be improved? Now, there's two different bits to come with this. There's two which are based on the game, the actual map itself, and there's two that's based on units. And so the first one we're going to talk about is the on-rails element. Now, when the community transmission for Geonosis came out, I think it was Ben Walk or whoever it was, EA and DICE said that they were going to make the ATTEs not on rails. Now, if you don't know what not on rails mean, it basically means so you can control them freely and move them wherever you want. The AT-ATs or the MTTs, for example, on different maps are what you'd call on rails, where you can't maneuver them. All you can do is jump in them and start shooting things, but it moves for you. And when I heard that, I was like, okay, this is going to be really cool. I really like how this works, how this is going to work. It's different, it's new, and it would actually make a lot of sense considering like you need for an ATTE that's got 6 legs and it's a massive like armored tank. You're going to need a lot of room if it's going. You're going to need like a lot of flat area for it to move on rails on its own. So I like the way I like the way they did it. But something that when I was looking at it, but when I started playing it, something that really stood out to me was how the on-rails element just, like, it doesn't work all the time. And a lot of it just doesn't make sense as to how the walkers move. And maybe it's because, maybe if they added the ATTs into a bit of a flatter map, let's say, I don't know, let's say Kashyyyk, maybe, let's say. Maybe it'd work a little bit better it being, like, not on rails. But because Geonosis is such a built-up map, you sort of have to follow a set rail in order to not crash into anything. You know, so in all fairness, like, the way that the ATTEs move, you might as well just have it on rails, because you can't just move the ATTEs anywhere, because you will either run into something or you'll move into an enemy's territory and just get shot down instantly. So in all fairness, I like the fact that it's not on rails, you can move it freely, but the limitations of how the map is structured doesn't accommodate to the not on rails element of it, really. That's just what I think about that. You know, it's a good idea, but the map doesn't accommodate for it very well. Now, the next thing, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, because I really should talk about this every single time a new skin comes out, but the heavy classes skins. Oh my god, EA and DICE are so lazy with this, right? So if we look at all of the other skins, let's take Phase 2, because this is the easiest place I can put it on, is the Phase 2. The Phase 2 troopers, if you look at the Phase 2 212th troopers, and not even just 212th, but the 91st, the 41st, not the 41st, sorry, the 91st Clone Battalions, the 212th, all of that, the 327th, all of them, all they've done with the heavy class is just recolored the visor and the different colored bits from the default skin. They haven't edited anything about it, it's just a different color. Now, whereas with, let's say, the heavy class, no, the assault class and the specialist class, they've actually edited, let's say, the helmets, especially, let's say, 212th Legion, for example. They've edited the trooper class so that let's, like, with the 212th, you've got the triangle on top of the helmet. Why can't they do that with the heavy class? There's no reason why they can't. EA and DICE just being lazy with that. It's just another, like, skin that they just, you know, it's literally just a case of putting it back in the model editor, selecting the different bits of color bits you want to recolor, and just changing the color. That's all they did with the heavy class. It's such a lazy way to do it. And when you've got the two other classes which look absolutely brilliant and really movie accurate, and then you've got the heavy class which is just a lazy edit of what we've already got. I don't like it. If it wasn't for the fact that it's cheaper to buy the skins in bundles, I wouldn't buy the heavy class because it's not worth 20 grand. But because you buy all 3 skins for 40 grand, 42,000 credits, it just makes it seem like you're paying for 2 skins, so it doesn't particularly matter. But if it was, let's say you could only buy them individually, I wouldn't buy the heavy class because it's such a lazy skin. It's such a lazy skin that they edit. Now, something else this is about Obi-Wan Kenobi now. I might be completely wrong, but when I saw the trailer and some gameplay of him, and when I opened up the menu of Battlefront 2, something struck out to me that Obi-Wan Kenobi looks a bit weird. And when I say he looks a bit weird, there's something about him, about his face especially, that doesn't look quite right. Now, I got a picture up my phone of Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan Kenobi in the movies, and I put it up against my screen next to Obi-Wan Kenobi's face in the game. And I thought, the summary isn't quite right. Now, I think it's because his face is textured. The colour of his face is too light. It needs to be a bit darker. But something about it just doesn't look right. I might be completely wrong. I might be completely barking at the wrong tree. But look at Ewan McGregor playing Obi-Wan Kenobi, and looking at Obi-Wan Kenobi in game, there's something about him that doesn't look right. Now, if EA and DICE can figure it out and edit it, then that would be absolutely brilliant. I don't think they will. It more likely be the case that a modder finds there's something wrong with it. I'll go on Nexus mods in the next month, within the next month, and there'll be a mod called Improved Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I'll look at it out like that is exactly what I meant. I mean, if I see that, I will do a mod review on that just to make the point of what was actually meant by what I'm saying now. But something about it just doesn't look quite right. Now back onto the topic of the Geonosis map. Now, this is just a little niggly thing. Now, in the grand scheme of things, I haven't faced too much of a problem with this, necessarily. But something that I've noticed while watching gameplay of it and playing the game myself is because Geonosis is very open and a very open map, it's a very sniper-heavy map to be on. And what I worry about is when we get, let's say we're playing as the Republic, the Separatists have to defend, but having like a line of, let's say 10, so half the team, so 10 units, 10 players, making like a barrier just sniping. Now that is a major problem. I haven't come across that, and I don't think anybody's that stupid to come across that and to do that, but that's what I fear will happen. And if that does happen, that will ruin the game itself. Now, the map sort of makes up for its sniper heaviness by again the different like levels and heights, the higher grounds and the trenches and everything, and it sort of makes it a bit easier to flank your enemy. But I've been shot by, especially that first phase where it's so built up and it's very like different levels all over the place, and pillars and posts everywhere and caves and that. That first phase especially, I get absolutely destroyed by snipers. Now, the second phase, because I'm normally hiding behind an ATTE or just hiding in the trenches with my sentry gun, I don't ever come across snipers being a major problem. And especially when the sandstorm hits, because snipers can't see anything, that makes it even better. But that first phase, if that first phase is what comes into Blast, that's going to turn the tide of a lot of Blast games on that map because of how sniper heavy it is. So again, that's probably not going to change a lot. Maybe what they could do is they could put a sniper like cap on a sniper cap on the game map, that game map especially, and maybe even Hoth, let's say. But what is different about Hoth? I say that Hoth and Crate, but Hoth more especially, are two of my worst maps in the game. And the reason why is because it's so easy to snipe, because it's so open. Now, the difference between Geonosis is, yes, it is open, but there's places to hide, like, every few meters. So, it sort of evens it out. But if it becomes too sniper heavy, people are not going to want to play the map, because everybody's just sitting there with a sniper. Because I can't snipe. And I can't snipe for anything. I will go around with a sniper in Blast, because Blast is very close quarters. So I could just go around and just snipe people, or just mainly just use my infiltration and just go around and get people that way. But I don't. If it becomes too sniper heavy, I feel it's going to ruin the map a little bit. So having said all that, that is what we have time for in this Let's Play video here. I'd like to thank you all very much for watching. When Anakin Skywalker comes out, or whoever comes out first in January, because there's no update in December, I will go over the different skins, because there's because I was going to go over the General Grievous Shattered skin in this video, but when Obi-Wan Kenobi's General Kenobi update comes out next month in December, I'll do a bit of a review then. So I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did enjoy, don't forget to smash that like button, hit that subscribe button for more awesome gaming content, and I shall see you all later. Bye!